You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I got a few questions for you. Do all your exes live in Texas? Is everything bigger in Texas? And is this your first rodeo? Well, I can't answer those questions for you, but what I will do today is tell you about my time in San Antonio, Texas. Stay tuned. So, as some of you may know, I checked off a lot of firsts for myself. First time being in Texas, farthest west I had ever been was Louisiana. It was my first time at the Final Four. Had never did that. And big as a basketball fan I am, that's pretty much of a surprise. And also my first time at the NABC, which is the National Association of Basketball Coaches, which is something you should look into get into if you are a coach. I'll actually put the link down low. Also, it was my first time getting in the airplane. Had never did that, never had a reason to. I was very anxious, very excited going into it. I was doing everything possible that I could do, from looking up how the flight takes off, how the flight lands, how the airports look that I'm going to, just so I can be mentally prepared. I like being prepared going into things. I don't like too much of shock/surprises. So I made sure I had to do that. And then also, it was my first time catching an Uber, catching a Lyft. I did both of those. Met some great people who were driving. I swore up and down that I would never, ever, ever do any of those, Uber or Lyft. But obviously I had to change my mind because I had to do what I had to do. In my opinion, San Antonio is a great city, especially downtown. I would not mind going back again and taking some of my friends with me if possible. It's a great scenery. The Final Four, the events and everything going on probably had a lot to do with it, but it was a great atmosphere there. I would suggest anybody who's thinking about going there, it's a beautiful place to check out San Antonio. NABC stands for National Association Basketball Coaches. It's an organization that involves, it has coaches from AAU teams, has coaches from high school teams like myself. It has coaches at every level of college basketball as well, from the highest of the highest D1s to your D3s and anywhere between. And with this, they have a convention each and every year at the site of the Final Four. This year it was at San Antonio. Last year it was in Phoenix. Next year it's supposed to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then the following year will be in Atlanta. And with that, they provide a multitude of things, which is a clinics with different coaches. Like while being there, I saw Coach Greg Popovich talk, and during that session, I had Coach Shaka Smart sitting behind me, who's a big-time Division I coach at Texas. I also got to see the coach from University of Maine, got to hear him talk, and it was a bunch of other coaches that spoke as well. But besides that, it is a great thing to get into. I really would suggest anybody who is looking to further develop themselves as a coach to get into that, because it really helps you network as well. Let me give some huge shout outs to Coach John Willis, who's a very close friend of mine. A shout out to his big brother, Alex Willis, who also showed up. Shout out to John's friend, his name is Mike, who came from Oregon. Also a shout out to Coach Artis Maddox, who's the head coach at Florida Memorial University, which is down in Miami. And then to Coach Kevin Waters, who coaches at Wilberforce University up in Ohio, who used to be a former coach of the Jacksonville Giants AVA team here in Jacksonville. And the reason I'm shouting out these guys is because they were big time mentors to me this entire weekend. We pretty much all hung out during the weekend, and throughout the weekend they were just asking me, "You all right? How are you feeling? What have you learned?" Different things like that. Hey, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. Hey, if you're trying to get to this level, you should do that. And any and everything. Even questions I had, they answered them. How to do certain resumes, how to go through certain interviews, anything under the sun that I asked, they were there to answer it for me. And I appreciate them for everything they did for me that weekend. I learned a lot of things while I was out there. A lot of things I can help improve myself. Things I learned from other people, things I learned from myself. The most two important things that I took away that I'll say is that creating content, which got me into creating these videos that I have here. Just creating content so people know who I am. Even say if I go on an interview for a coaching job and I can just send them this link and they can kind of see who I am as a person outside of just that interview. And then the other thing that I learned was that it's not about who you know. You know, that the saying is always, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. But the most profound thing, and this is another quote, and he took it a step farther. I forgot what coach said it, but he said, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. So it's about leaving that impression on somebody to the point where if someone asks them who you are, then they're able to tell them about you. Instead of the other way around where they ask and be like, no, I don't remember that name, and then they have to go like a mile as to saying, hey, this is his face, this is how he looks, this is what he, and like, oh yeah, I remember him. You want people to know you from just off the name, off top, and be like, yeah, I remember that guy. So that's something that's really going to stick with me in the future. It's about who knows me and not about who I know personally. So that's the most important thing. Two things that I took away from my time in San Antonio. Hold up, my friend. Make sure subscribe, like, share, comment, leave comments below. But most importantly, don't forget to come back.